So we've got this 10-inch by 16-inch poster board. So let me just draw a nice perfect rectangle. So this is the poster or poster board, and it's 10 inches by 16 inches. All right, next there needs to be a uniform red border around the edge of the poster. So basically the edges you can't use all the way to the edge of the paper because there has to be a red border. So in other words, the whatever it is, a picture or whatever, can go in this space, and then that needs to be 140 square inches of space. So where I just shaded, that's supposed to be 140 inches squared for this nice artwork right there. Looks perfect. There you go. There's the artwork. Okay, but it doesn't say how big the border is, but it does have to be the same all the way around. So if we say that this is a length of X, then this also has to be a length of X. And then you have to do that all the way around. This is X, etc. So all of these are a length of X. And then that's the red border. Okay, so the black shaded part, that equals 140. So in other words, area, or the printable area, is 140 inches squared. But if this side is 10, and then you can't use this X and you can't use this X, that means that, let me use something like blue. That means that this part right here in blue will be 10 minus an X minus an X. So that means that this blue side right here is 10 minus 2X. And if you look at this orange side right here, well, if you went all the way, it would be 16, but then you have to subtract X and you have to subtract X. So that means the orange part is 16 minus 2X. And to find the area of a rectangle, you multiply the two sides. So on the one hand, we have the area has to be 140. On the other, you multiply the 16 minus 2X times the 10 minus 2X, and that has to equal 140. And this is how we can solve for X and find out how big that border is supposed to be. So then it's time to use distributive properties. So there's going to be 16 times 10, that's 160. There's 16 times 2X, that'll be minus 32X. Then distribute the negative 2X, so this is going to be negative 20X. And then a negative 2 times a negative 2, that's going to be positive 4X squared. And then that equals 140. And then I could combine like terms. I would also prefer that the 4X squared goes first. And then the X terms, when you add those together, that's going to be negative 52X. And then you could also subtract 140 from both sides. And if you subtract 140 from 160, that leaves just 20. And then do the quadratic formula. Although I see we could make life a little bit simpler if we first divide by 4, because all of these numbers can be divided by 4 evenly, and then that's going to make the numbers smaller when we do the quadratic formula. So this is just going to give us X squared. 52 divided by 4, well, if you divide 52 by 2, that's 26. Divide by 2 again, that's 13. And then 20 divided by 4 is 5, and 0 divided by 4 is 0. Okay, now for the quadratic formula. So negative b plus or minus the square root, then the b gets squared minus 4 times the a and times the c. And it gets divided by 2a. Now, since this is a poster in real life, the sides cannot be imaginary numbers. So inside of the radical, there should not be a negative. Let's see. So negative 13, 13 times 13 is 169. When you square a negative, it's a positive, so that's a 169 positive. And then minus 20. So then we've got almost time for the calculator, and we're almost done. So negative 13 means positive 13, then plus or minus. The square root of 169 minus 20 is 149. And then divide by 2. And then this is going to give us two answers. Most likely one answer is not going to be possible. Like if it says x equals negative 1.3, well, the side of a poster cannot be negative 1.3 inches. So one answer we'll throw away, but one answer we'll keep. And which is it going to be? The calculator will decide. 13 plus the square root of a 149, and then put parentheses around that and divide by 2. Okay, so that's not possible because it's saying the border has to be 12 inches, 12.6 inches, but one side of it's only 10 inches long, so that's impossible. Then do the same thing, but change the plus to a minus. And so 0.397 of an inch, yes, that sounds possible. It's a pretty small border, but it's possible. So we got x equals 0.397 inches. And then I have to see, is there anything else we're supposed to answer? So how wide should the red border be? Well, the red border is defined by x, so that's all we had to find out. That's how big the x should be. There we go, and Bob's your uncle.